What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. On today's episode, of course, we'll be previewing the game against the New Orleans Pelicans. We'll also be talking about how Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan ended up on the injury report. We'll get into all that, and also we're 10 games left in the season, 5 home, 5 away. What do we need to see from this Bulls team headed into the playoffs? We'll get into all that and some more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central.
All right, Bulls fans. So, first up, Zach and DeMar have been listed on the injury report. Zach is probable. DeMar is doubtful. We'll see what happens with that. We speculated some after the last game on if they would sit DeMar soon and Zach and allow them some time to rest down the stretch. Now, while I didn't expect necessarily for them to miss games, I did expect maybe for the minutes to kind of be lessened when they go on this next 5 games are all very winnable games for the Chicago Bulls. So we'll see what happens with that. Now, Zach, of course, it's the knee, it's the maintenance and stuff like that with Zach LaVine. Now, he is listed as probable, so that means that he's more than likely going to be available tonight, but we'll see. The Bulls may very well look at this game, especially with Brandon Ingram being out, and say, hey, if we're going to be able to sit any Zach LaVine in any game, this is definitely one of the ones that we can do that in. Also, DeMar with an abductor strain, if I can get my words correctly, is also probably going to miss this. Well, with DeMar, while Zach's listed as probable, and I really do think with Zach's is really just pain management, things like that for him. This abductor strain for DeMar DeRozan, that's something that, it may be something that just to put him on the injury report to allow him to get some rest so the NBA isn't, coming down on sitting players out. But with all that being said, it kind of is just, it is what it is at this point. Even if DeMar does not play, we need big contributions from somebody else. We need players to step up. And in very many ways, I'm not mad at DeMar or Zach sitting in this game because we need these players to take a look at themselves and work themselves back. Kobe, who has not been shooting the ball very well or consistently in the last handful of games, we need to see him work himself out of that slump before we go into the playoffs. Tristan hasn't played very heavy minutes. We'll see what's going on with Derrick Jones Jr. as Patrick Williams is continue to come back. We know that he's on a minutes restriction between 18 and 26 minutes. He hasn't gotten up to that 20-minute mark yet, so we'll see if this is a game, especially if DeMar ends up sitting out, that we see more of Patrick Williams and see him get more towards that 22, 23, whatever minute mark. At the end of the day, this is a very winnable game. The Pelicans have been playing a lot better, but like I said, with Brandon Ingram being out, it kind of is just one of those things where it's like, okay, this is like, don't get me wrong, the Bulls can lose to anybody, and that's what we're seeing. And CJ McCollum can absolutely go off and kill the Bulls. We know that that's possible, especially if DeMar and Zach sit. There's definitely a possibility for that. But I would like to see this team come in. I would like to see other players step up outside their roles and really get in gear before the playoffs. I know there are a lot of Bulls fans that are down on the Bulls right now, and I understand there are a lot of people in general that are counting the Bulls out and saying, hey, this team's probably more than likely going to be a first-round exit. And, even if that's the case, then that's the case. But I really would like to see these players have an opportunity and take advantage of the opportunity if DeMar and Zach or one of the two are out to really step up and prepare themselves for the playoffs and get in gear. So let me know what you guys think about that down below. Who do you think steps up in the probable absence of DeMar DeRozan and or Zach LaVine? What players do you want to see and who do you expect to see step up? I think this could be a game where Vooch, again, for everyone who shits on Vooch, that game against the Bucks, he came and he showed up. Now, I want to see some Patrick Williams. We know that Javonte is also dealing with some sickness, non-COVID related sickness. So we'll see what happens with this team. With this game, let's hold that off. We got a preview of the game coming in at the bottom half of this episode, so we're going to get into that in a minute. But with 10 games left on the Bulls schedule before the playoffs start, and we know that the Bulls are guaranteed to have at least one postseason game this season with at the very worst that they can be is 10th, and that kind of is what it is. But what do we need to see from this team? 5 games at home, 5 games away for this Bulls team left in this season, in the regular season. And what I'll say is that kind of what I just alluded to. I want to see players step up. I want to see Kobe White, Io's been playing pretty well, especially since moving to the bench. Caruso, the continued development of Patrick Williams coming back from injury and how good he has really looked unexpectedly, right? I did not expect him to look this good this soon. And, as he continues to get his legs under him and things like that. Also, I want to see this team nail down a rotation. I know it's hard, especially with Lonzo Ball being out and you kind of don't know what's going to happen with him over the course of the season. But I really would like to see like to see a solid rotation and that we know and we can expect who's going to be playing and what roles gearing up for the postseason. these next 10 games all need to be tune-up games for the playoffs, meaning how our play style, our focus come back together, our rotation kind of take a firm grasp on exactly who we're going to be playing in the playoffs. And I think that's kind of already been done in a way. We kind of know who's going to get minutes on this team. Like I said, the biggest question mark for me lately is Derrick Jones Jr. getting some DNPs and maybe some issues with his finger that they just aren't talking about. But especially I think if we don't see Derrick Jones Jr. in a game that possibly either DeMar DeRozan or Zach LaVine miss, that raises a lot of red flags about what's going to happen and if he's going to be ready for the playoffs. Now, again, that could just be me being a pessimist or me being concerned. My Bulls fan PTSD could be a lot of those things, admittedly, but that's the kind of things that I want to see. Also, these next 10 games, I need to see the Bulls lock back in defensively. Lonzo Ball, for all intents and purposes, even if he does come back, we're not going to get him into the playoffs. It seems like that's just really the reality of it. I know a lot of fans don't want to hear that. They don't really want to accept that. They don't want to think that there's a chance that Lonzo Ball could miss the rest of the regular season or the rest of this season period, which he very well could. There are some people, and it's a stage of denial. And don't get me wrong, I don't want Lonzo Ball to miss any more games in the season if it can be avoided. But the way that everything is looking and shaping up, and without it being said, it really does seem like the Bulls are preparing for a postseason life without having Lonzo Ball available. Or even if he is available, who knows if he's going to even be available to start or play heavy minutes, especially in that first round. So we'll see what happens. We'll continue to monitor what's going on with Lonzo Ball. I guess that's another thing to put on the list of something that we need and want to see, or I need and want to see, is a firm direction on what's going on with Lonzo Ball. If they're going to shut him down, just shut him down. There's not much time left in the regular season. I know maybe they don't want to get Bulls fans' spirits down before the playoffs start, but at the end of the day, all that be damned. Like, just say it. If he's not going to come back, if you guys are expecting him and preparing for him, as it seems like they're doing, to not be available, then just say that. It kind of is what it is. Listen, this is not the last season. As I keep saying, Lonzo Ball is going to have, he has another 3 years after this season under contract with the Chicago Bulls. And his health is the most important thing. And I know some people really do want to see, and they think, hey, Lonzo's just going to shake this one off. But I don't know, man. I really don't know. Everything around it kind of, to me, is just telling me that Lonzo Ball is not going to be back. But look, I've already talked about that. Let's get off that. And another thing is I want to see the Bulls beat one of these top teams. At this point, the narrative is becoming a little bit, you understand it, but it's getting so overcovered, and I get it. At the end of the day, either the Bulls are or they aren't, right? We have games left remaining against Milwaukee, Miami, and Boston. Those are all 3 games in a row in April. So how they look over the course of those 3 games, can they get 1 out of those 3 games? Hell, they can get 2 out of those 3 games heading into the playoffs. It doesn't completely eliminate the question of how the Bulls can fare against top teams in the NBA, but at least it does something to say, hey, maybe we're getting in together and heading into gear, especially that Boston game, who all, by everything, unless something crazy happens. Well, let me not say crazy, because it's like the Bulls, if Miami loses 2 and the Bulls win 3, the Bulls would be right back in the top team in the East. But with that being said, it really does seem like we're destined for a first round matchup against Boston. And listen, if the Bulls can get completely healthy by then and Lonzo gets back and things like that, and they can figure it out, that's shaping up to be a hell of a first-round series. And I don't want to hear none of the fans, oh, can the Bulls beat? Yes, the Bulls can play in a series, and they will get games, if not be able to win that series against Boston. And I'm trust that they're going to have my faith in that, whether you guys want to sit there in that moment with me or not. All right, before we end the episode, we got to preview the game tonight against the New Orleans Pelicans. Now, with that being said, Brandon Ingram out, right? He's out. He's not coming. We know he's not going to be available. We'll see what happens with DeMar and Zach. But overall, with this team, like I've been saying, this team needs to treat every game like it's a playoff game. I want to see that type of intensity, playoff intensity, every single night from the Chicago Bulls, whoever's available, whoever's not. And I'm not one of those people who are saying, oh, injury doesn't matter. No, injuries matter, right? Having people out matter, but it shouldn't matter in the effort that you give. It matters in the end result, and if you can or can't win games. But I'm talking about the effort here. I need to see whoever gets minutes to step up, appreciate those minutes, play like they're playing for something. And we deserve as a fan base to see that from this team. The way that this last month has gone for the Chicago Bulls, we need to see that, right? The Bulls very well, and I've talked about it before. We also have talked about it over on Locked On Bulls. The Bulls' next 5 games are New Orleans, Cleveland, New York, Washington, and the Los Angeles Clippers. That takes us to the end of this month. the Bulls absolutely have a possibility of going 5-0 in those games. Well, depending on health and everything, and knowing how the Bulls have played and just being honest, they also have a possibility of losing those games. So with that being said, the thing that I want to see from this Bulls team is I want to see them over the course of the next 5 games. I want to see the Bulls go 4-1. That's what I'm saying. That's what I need to see. And then after those 5 games, we go into the Miami, Milwaukee, Boston, and Charlotte. If you want to throw that team in there too, which can give the Bulls matchup issues, we go into those games. So I need to see the Bulls use these next 5 games to really get themselves in order, play with playoff level intensity. In this New Orleans game tonight, I want to see big effort from every player on the team. Now, will that happen? Probably not, but that's what I want to see. I want to see the continued effort. I want to see the defensive intensity. I want to see the focus on both offense and defense. I want to see the rebounding battle. I want to see them get turnovers and push the pace. This team is dangerous when they push the pace. I want to see all those things from our Chicago Bulls tonight. Let me know down below what are some things that you want to see from this team in tonight's game and in the next 5 games to end out the month of March as well before we head into April, which are all of the games in April before the postseason are all against playoff teams. So let's just be real there. We need to see that type of thing from our Chicago Bulls, and they can really take advantage of these next 5 games. And I know some people are going to hear that and say, really, Haize, with the way the Bulls are saying, you saying that you want to see them go 5-0 or 4-1? Yes, that's what I want to see from this team. I want to see them get back to the level of play that we came to expect from them early in the season. But let me know what you guys think down below. Make sure you're subscribed. A lot of people I'm showing up in their algorithms because I post so much, but I want to see you guys all subscribe to the channel. Don't forget, we'll be doing a giveaway at the 7,000 subscriber mark. We're at about 5,500 right now, so we need about another 1,500 subscribers for us to do the next giveaway of a Bulls jersey of somebody's choice. But make sure you're following the podcast at Bulls Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullscentralpod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text or a voicemail, which we'll be going into the mailbag on tomorrow's episode, 773-270-2799. That is it for me for today, guys. I love you guys. Go Bulls. See red, don't be red. I'm out. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Breaks Media.